You're on the road beyond. Welcome. Good to have you with us this afternoon. I'm Todd Duplantis, and we are coming to you from the HCC TV studios. And as always, with some of the most interesting content and videos you'll see at least today. My co-host, Doug O'Brien's joining me.
How's it going? Welcome. Don't forget to like, follow, share. You can always find us on social media platforms at The Road Beyond Podcast. Very simple.
Yeah, and last week we were off for Memorial Day.
Yes.
Yep, I was in Boston again.
I was at home.
You were at home?
Yeah, I did. I think I did nothing. I watched a lot of like the Indy 500.
Yeah.
I think I watched NASCAR. I think I watched marble racing. I just did nothing.
You had a little racing week.
Yeah, I did. But I sat on the couch. I'm like, I'm not doing anything.
Well, it was chilly up in Boston. Very cool. Got to go see Salem on your recommendation.
Salem, it was a cool place. I was there on Halloween and we had a great time. And that whole East Coast, I love Houston, but the East Coast is just such a cool, quaint area.
It is. It's a great place to visit.
Yes.
I don't know if I could live there.
I did for a while.
You did?
And,
New York.
It gets very, New York, Providence, New Hampshire, New Jersey, and it's cold. Yeah. I mean, cold.
It was cold up there last week, end of May.
It's one of those days where, most of the time you're layering because you never know. You'll start out the day at 45 and then it's 80 by the afternoon.
And that's usually happens 1 or 2 days here in lovely old Houston, Texas. But hey, start of hurricane season is upon us, so that's always exciting. So,
I've heard we got a disturbance out there already.
Well, it's on it's on the Pacific side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what do we care?
What do we care? Yeah, it'll hit. It's a fish storm.
As hot as it's already been, though, I'm willing to say it might be bad this year.
We're going to get an active season.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll have to wait and see. But hey, we've got a great show, a lot of cool subjects we're going to be talking about this morning, or this afternoon, I should say. One of them, it's a story that's been popping up in social media a lot lately. Take a look at this. A mysterious object recovered in Colombia is raising eyebrows and questions around the world. It's called the Buga sphere. The metallic orb was seen flying over the town of Buga in western Colombia's Valle de Cauca region. Now, before it reportedly crashed into a forest on March the 7th.
Well, and as you can see in the video, people saying that it's very erratic in a zigzagging motion, and it's sparked a lot of speculation about whether it's a UFO or whether it's something else. I mean, if it's zigzagging around, could it be just a drunk alien?
It could be a drunk alien, but it crashed, and now it's in the hands of researchers. In fact, the sphere is closely being examined for clues about its origin. Jose Luis Velasquez, one of the researchers involved in the investigation, is saying that what they've found so far is baffling. According to Velasquez, the object has no visible welds or seams, something highly unusual for a man-made device. He's saying it's a very rare piece that he's never seen the likes of before.
Well, it is unusual because Velasquez says, along with his team, that it's got different layers. You can see there. It's got these interesting markings on it, 9 small microspheres within it. And the symbols are very mysterious that are etched on the surface, which again fuels more speculation that it could be extraterrestrial. But not everyone is convinced.
No, in fact, a physicist, Dr. Julia Mossbridge, she's at the University of San Diego and the founder of the Institute for Love and Time. You know, the Institute for Love and Time. That's a great name, isn't it?
Institute of Love and Time. I love that.
She urges caution. She believes the object might not be otherworldly, but rather something far more grounded. She says, don't jump to conclusions, folks, and suggest any analysis be handled with scientific rigor, whatever the hell that means. She recommends that discoveries like this be vetted by specialized research teams like the Galileo Project, which is an internationally funded initiative by Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb. He's been in the news before. They investigate unexplained aerial phenomena and with academic discipline.
Well, and something else she goes on to stress is that we need to make sure that outside agencies, non-governmental and non-partisan groups.
They aren't getting funded these days.
Well, or any left is the real question. But like the Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies, to investigate these kinds of anomalies, we've been having so many of these. The goal, she says, is to gather data free from political influence and to foster international cooperation. As the Boogosphere undergoes further study now in Mexico, the big question remains, what exactly is it?
Well, we've had discussions on this before on this show, but more recently in Congress. In fact, they've had 2 congressional hearings on UAPs. They're calling them now. They've changed the name once again. They're no longer UFOs. They're unidentified anomalous phenomena. Before it was aerial phenomena.
Right.
They can't figure it out what they want to call these things. There was one 2022 Pentagon report and a 2023 NASA study. Both concluded nothing to see here. Most sightings. Yeah. I mean, they're typically balloons, birds, aircraft, or sunlight reflections. And so far, the Pentagon's, they've got a new agency, All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, the AARO, says, of course, they found no evidence of extraterrestrial origins for any of the cases it's reviewed.
So they just think it's like some guy just etching things and throwing metal objects in the air.
Nothing to see here.
Well, even skeptics like Dr. Mossbridge admit the search for truth is critical. I think we can all agree with that. And we must remain open-minded and united in investigating the unknown. But for now, the Boogosphere remains a mystery, whether it turns out to be art, or science, or something yet not imagined. It's a reminder that the universe still holds plenty of secrets.
Well, that sphere, if you look at some of the symbols on them, they do look at it. They look otherworldly in some point.
Well, it reminds me of the, is it the Nazca lines? What's it called?
The Nazca lines.
Yeah. It's very similar to that, especially with the circles at the ends of the lines.
And there's some type of language on there too.
Yeah. Have I ever told you my little UFO? It's a quick story.
No, yeah. No,
I was at my uncle's house in Red Lick, Texas, which is a hotbed of information.
Right.
I was outside goofing off late at night. I couldn't sleep. Had a bright flashlight, and I was shining it up into the stars, just goofing around.
Yeah.
I shined it one time, and something flashed back at me.
Really?
Yeah. I ran inside. I was not hanging around. But it got me to think of, what was it? Was it a reflection? But I mean, we just don't know what's out there, and no one's telling us.
We've had a guest on this show in the last few years who talks about, he lived up in Tennessee in the mountains, and he talked about he and his wife could summon UFOs, and they videotaped this. They've said things like, please come see us. We're up here. We're waiting to see you. And next thing you know, these weird lights, and you can see things a lot better out there.
Well, yeah, because you don't have all the light noise.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's the same way where I was up in East Texas, but it is a bizarre thing. It's one of those things where you want it to happen until it kind of happens. And then you're like, well, hold on.
Yeah, I don't need to be seeing this.
Yeah, because they definitely have me outgunned in technology and intelligence.
Well, the thing about it is, I mean, I've always said this, the problem is our government, they're doing some disclosure, but they don't want to tell you there's things flying around in our sky. We can't protect you from them, and we can't do anything about it. That's what they don't want to say.
I'm actually on the other side. I think it's more so that they're the ones flying these things around. I think it's a lot of test drones, objects.
Well, look what happened in New Jersey. We've talked about that in the show. What the heck was going on there in New Jersey?
And now with AI, you really can't tell a difference with a lot of them, what's real and what's not real. Some of them are very obvious, but there's a lot of them like you just don't know what it is. And I think the government, the worst thing they can do is hide it. It's always been,
that's why
hide something. It makes people more curious and more conspiracy.
Well, just the case in point, the New Jersey drones.
Right.
All along, they could have said, look, we're doing surveillance. There was a lot of theories floating around. There was the Chinese. Remember, they had Armada they were launching. And in the end, Trump gets in office, and the first couple of days in office, his spokesperson says these were government drones and they were private drones. Why couldn't they have said that before?
No, that's it. And you don't have to tell us what you're doing. Just let us know you're the one doing it.
Because people are freaking out in New Jersey.
Absolutely correct.
Speaking of freaking out, what would you think if your dog took over the wheel and started driving?
If I was in Red Lick, I would say it was a normal day.
A normal day.
Right. Yeah, that's unusual, and you'll see that coming up.
Yeah, we've got a great story coming up next. Driving dogs and more. Peter Pan theories as well. Stay tuned. The Road Beyond podcast returns in 60 seconds.
I'm learning healthcare management while providing patient care.
I came back to grow my skills, even after I graduated.
And if I can't make it in person, I take my classes online. time you see the symptoms of lung cancer, it could be too late. Now there's a new scan that can detect lung cancer early. If you smoked, get scanned.
If you love them enough to crawl into a play place to get them to come down, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
I'm a first-generation Filipino American. You don't always feel you're a part of the country you live in. It's this weird middle space sometimes that you have to live inside of. But when you meet others that are also living in that space, you'll learn to know that it's its own unique space too.
Welcome back to the Road Beyond podcast. Remember, you can like, follow, and share on all the social media platforms by just finding us at the Road Beyond podcast.
Easy enough.
Yes.
Easy enough. So we've seen, the big talk now, of course, is AI and robots that are, Musk is going to release one for about 30 grand. That's coming your way. And you've heard about the self-driving cars.
Yeah.
What about dog-driven cars? The internet has a brand new obsession, and it's got 4 legs, a wagging tail, and a surprising talent behind the wheel.
Whoa.
Look at this.
He's even shifting.
Exactly.
What? I have not seen this video, I got to be honest. This is Monty. He's gone viral for doing what most pups only dream of, which is driving. Look at that. He's even, they're seat belted in.
Yeah.
Anyway, a video's making the rounds on social media, clearly labeled a good boy by his proud human and confidently taking the wheel and cruising the streets like a pro. Look at that.
Backed by a catchy beat and a chorus of good boy praises, Monty turns the ignition, hits the metaphorical gas, and sets out on a joyride that has viewers, get this, I'm going to excuse myself now, howling with delight. The caption, the real hot issue on the streets right now. And judging by the response online, it's not wrong.
No, comments are pouring in from around the world celebrating Monty as the newest canine icon, from fast and fluffy jokes to fan art. It's clear he's gone from passenger to pop culture phenomenon. I have a question, though. How do you teach a dog to do that?
I don't know, but that's incredible. I mean, and there's several Monty dogs, as you can see, different breeds, not just one, obviously. But, it goes to prove, though, you can obviously teach a dog quicker to do a stick shift than you can a teenager nowadays.
That's true. Yeah, most of them have no clue about a stick shift.
I mean, let's think about this. You're calling for your Uber. Monty will be there to pick you up in 10 minutes. And you go out to meet the Uber, and there's a dog in the front seat.
But he will allow you to bring a doggy bag.
You can bring
Thank
a
you.
dog. Thank you.
Could not resist.
We're over.
All right. It's trending under the hashtags good boy on the streets and hashtag Monty takes the wheel, and a symbol of kind of internet joy that we all definitely crave and need right now. No politics, no drama. Just a dog living his best life, steering into the spotlight. That would be crazy to see it on the streets of Houston.
And I'm thinking this isn't that far off. Somebody out there is going to make millions.
Oh, yeah.
Because think about all these rescue dogs that we have out there.
Absolutely.
I'd put them to work.
Absolutely.
My dogs aren't large enough to reach a stick shift or probably manually operate a wheel. But you got some dogs out there that could probably take it and drive a lot better than people on the roads of Houston right now.
I want to know, how do you find out? Training him, I guess you can figure that out. But how do you get the idea that I think my dog can drive? I just have this feeling.
I mean, we're letting cars drive on their own.
Which Waymo has been having trouble. I don't know if you've heard about that.
Yeah, they've been having issues. But I kind of would trust my dog more than...
Yeah, I would too. I agree. But I
could see the dog driving off and said, squirrel!
That would be the problem. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, rating your Uber driver. Another thing on the internet, and this is probably one of the wildest stories you'll hear in a while, but it makes complete sense. That's why we got it on the show. It's a popular fan theory turning Neverland upside down. In fact, it's suggesting that the beloved character Peter Pan is a villain.
Okay, so this is crazy. The theory is gaining traction, though, on social media and on Reddit. And Reddit, let me tell you, you want to go to a place to find some interesting thoughts?
You go on Reddit.
Go on Reddit. Yeah. But they propose a darker interpretation for Peter Pan. J.M. Barrie's iconic tale, instead of a carefree leader of the Lost Boys, Peter is reimagined as a manipulative figure, keeping children in Neverland not to protect them, but to control them.
What a narcissist. Some versions of the theory even suggest that Peter kills the Lost Boys once they grow too old. Think about it.
Wow.
You don't see any old Lost Boys.
That's true.
As something hinted at in the original text in J.M. Barrie's novel. In fact, in his words, when they seem to be growing up, which is against the rules, Peter thins them out. How the heck does he do that?
Well,
some one at a time. Hey, let's go for a walk there.
Yeah, and they just never come back.
Yeah, come on, John. Let's go for a walk.
Experts say the twist is less a stretch and more a shift in perspective.
Right.
When you really think about it, that after all, Peter's world is one without consequences where time stands still, but only if you obey his rules.
And think about it, you know, why was Captain Hook chasing Peter Pan all these years? Is because he got into a fight with Captain Hook and he, you know, got basically his arm his hand bitten off because of a crocodile.
Yeah.
And then think about his interactions with Wendy. Wendy grows up, he visits her.
True.
And then winds up taking her kids.
That is true. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he took her kids. Look at him, you know. I mean, so, and that lasted for generations. Meanwhile, Peter Pan never grows up. There's some theories, though, that the young children keep him young.
So he's almost like a child vampire? I mean, is that the way that their energy keeps him young?
His energy keeps him young.
But how does Tinkerbell factor into this? Is it just that he's mentally ill and this is something he's seeing? I'm honestly asking, what's the theory?
It could be, or it could just be lacing the kids with some acid.
Right. Well, you know, well, Tinkerbell honestly could represent the good part. Like if he is this manipulative figure,
but
Tinkerbell is positive, right?
He's positive, but she kind of controlled him.
That's true, but could that be?
He could be running the whole operation.
That's possible.
He feeds off of him. He feeds off the kids.
But she could be the good side, you know, the little devil on each shoulder. She could be that good part of him, trying to get him to do the right thing.
I don't know. I mean, it's
crazy.
Tinkerbell didn't factor into the whole equation with, I guess, the online theory. That's why whatever you're hearing, we're creating this as we go along.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The online theory about Peter Pan. In fact, if you do a search when I was doing this story, Peter Pan evil, you're going to find all types of crazy stuff out there. Lots of content.
Well, that changes when you think of the movie that Robin Williams and Dustin
Hoffman. That was a good movie, yes.
It was very good,
yeah.
But it kind of changes it because Robin Williams was Peter Pan as an adult.
And he decided to step out of Neverland.
Right.
He grew up, went back.
Yeah.
And thought about staying, you know, until Hook shows up.
It would be an interesting movie. Jacqueline and I talk about this all the time. Interesting movies to make, and that would be an interesting take. We've kind of gone into the dark world with comics and everything else. It'd be cool to see that dark side of Peter Pan.
But did you ever see the dark side of Winnie the Pooh? There was that slasher movie with Winnie the Pooh is actually bad.
Well, and you know that
serial
all the Pooh characters are actual mental illnesses.
Oh, that's right.
That they all represent like depression and anxiety and others. So there is already kind of a dark undertone. I don't know about slasher, but there's already kind of all these dark undertones.
Children's novels, Watership Down, remember that?
Yes, yes.
I mean, are there dark tones beneath, you know? I mean,
well,
Snow White, you know, I mean, that one, you know.
Well, I think they're really, when you think about why they were created, they were all made to help children deal with issues they were facing.
When a lot of these books are written and released back in the 1800s, people were dropping dead right and left.
True.
We had a lot of disease and a lot of people didn't live that old. You know, the whole Snow White thing, I was going to tie that theory into this too, but there's a theory online that Snow White wasn't awoken to go back to life. Remember, or Sleeping Beauty, right?
Right.
Sleeping Beauty goes to sleep.
Yep.
And that the prince wasn't bringing her back to life. He was taking her to heaven.
Oh,
that was one of the theories.
That's a dark turn.
But then again, all these things have dark turns.
Well, and like I said, they come from a place of teaching, which you teach usually in those dark moments. For kids on how to deal with life, death, and things you have to experience.
You know, all these would get canceled today.
Oh, they would never. Yeah,
these books would
never. Never. I mean, there is so many just because of the style of movie making. There was the group just to divert for a moment, from the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
They got together for the first time in like 40 years. And I believe
Recently, they were
Yes,
on. I
yeah.
saw their. Well, they look terrible.
Emilio Estevez was asked if the movie could be made today, and he said no, because the culture is different, and audiences don't want to see 4 or 5 people just in a room having conversations.
Yeah, and they all had
effects.
issues, which
Absolutely
kind of be frowned on.
Which is why, but that's why it was
It
so
works
great
well.
to us. You know, it was like our teenager.
I know. Everybody knew one of those in high school.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got one of the favorite parts of the show coming up next. We're going to be looking at crazy animal videos. Bare necessities on the way. 60 seconds.
Learning looks like this, and it also looks like...
I'm not just studying agriculture. I'm learning how to grow for the future.
I came back to grow my skills even after I graduated.
I'm not just studying AI. I'm designing solutions to make the world a better place for us all.
And if I can't make it in person, I take my classes online.
So, where do you start?
Innovation transforms the world, turning the status quo upside down. Innovation created a healthcare system that not only improves the lives of veterans, it transforms the lives of healthcare professionals with unique opportunities to work with industry thought leaders while serving our nation's heroes. The Department of Veterans Affairs, where innovation ensures those who served our nation are served by the very best. See how a career at VA can transform your future.
Welcome back to the Road Beyond podcast.
That's Todd.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say your name.
No,
we really
no,
need
no,
to.
no.
We got to have.
We got to work that out. Okay,
I'm
I'll
Doug
stay.
O'Brien.
I'm Todd Duplantis.
I'm Doug O'Brien.
There you go.
Bare necessities. Since we went so dark in the last segment,
It was.
this one is a lot more entertaining. You've got to check out. So, what do you do when you're out with your friends?
Yeah,
right.
You've had too much to drink.
You've had too much to drink.
And your
how do you
bull
get
is
home?
waiting for you.
Yeah, there are animals around. How do you get home?
Well, get a self. We talked about a driving dog. What about a guiding bull? Take a look at this video.
I love
in
this.
Brazil. It's in Brazil. And this bull is just helping this happy fellow back home. Yeah, look at that. He's having a good time.
He's still holding on to the rope.
Yeah, the bull's just like,
The bull's
all
like,
all right,
time to
move
go.
along.
Yeah.
Come on, let's move along. Nothing to see here.
The bull's like, we got to be up in 4 hours. You know,
Exactly.
you need to get home. It's time. And
But yeah.
literally, he pushes him all the way home.
Some crazy stuff happens in Brazil.
I love that though. Like,
I know.
What better way
to get home than guided by a bull. But
no
if you trip,
driving, no problems.
but you could get stomped on by the bull if you trip.
And that's why
which could happen with
be
drunk
very
people.
kind to your bulls, without a doubt.
The segment's called Bare Necessities, so we want to give you at least one bear video. This one is actually pretty cool. Take a look at this. Someone decides to go to the zoo. Well, there's the bull once again. Let's get, there we go.
There we go.
And they start tossing treats to bears. And the bear's pretty good at it.
This is my
Well,
favorite.
The bear over the side. Hey, yo, over here. Yeah, right here, buddy. Come on, get one over here.
That's
And,
my favorite. When I saw this, I was like,
And he got a
okay.
treat as well. So they toss some treats.
I thought, oh, this is cute, feeding the bears. Okay, we've seen that, until the other bear was like, hey,
But once again,
hey, over here.
Over here, buddy. Hey, come on, show me some love.
It's like Mardi Gras when the floats are going by, like, hey, throw me some beads.
The bear didn't try to pull up his top, you know?
Now, in this day and age, everybody wants a selfie
Yeah.
of almost anything and everything. And this guy,
And most animals are pretty good with selfies.
yeah, but not all.
Yeah, not
like
all.
You'll see right here. This,
You know, the seal.
this guy's
didn't want
like,
any
oh, I'm
part
going
of
to
it.
take a selfie. And the seal's like, nope.
No, not going to happen.
The
I mean,
seal-
I would not get that close to a seal in the first place. Let's try it again. And nope. I mean, those things are like, they're like chubby dogs
yeah.
without legs, but they're pretty fast, and they can move around, and they can take your face off.
My favorite though is that the seal just wanted to be left
He wants
alone.
to be left alone. He
He's
doesn't
just
need
trying to
guy
catch
jacket.
some sun. And the problem is the guy didn't ask.
Yeah, no.
You should always, like, imagine walking up to just anybody on the street and just whipping out your phone and going, hey,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
That would not go over well.
It didn't go over well. You know, luckily the seal didn't bite him. It would have been a much different story.
No, I've seen some videos where seal go after people, and it is shocking for them to have no arms or legs. How quickly they can
they can move, especially the bigger they are, and you think,
yes,
oh, these guys can't move.
Absolutely,
they're huge. You know,
remember, always ask permission.
Always, that's the key. If you take anything away from this, Peter Pan was a narcissistic villain, a jerk.
Yep.
Captain Hook was right, justified.
Okay.
And don't bother seals. Okay?
Yes. By the way, I want to mention two things. Today is National Bubba Day.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you know anybody named Bubba, give them a call.
Yeah.
But I heard a news story, since I know we have a minute here. I saw a news story that I thought was very important that I share with everybody. This happened in Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah.
It involves animals. I saved it for this segment. He went into a store and stole a ferret by shoving it in his pants. Think about that. I'm thinking about the store employee that had to go, excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Is that a ferret in your pants?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to go anymore.
That is a true story. A man shoved a ferret down his pants to walk out and just go home.
And ferrets, they have pretty bad claws.
And teeth, yeah. So just think about it for a minute.
Think about that, how that went.
Yeah.
They will bite. I've been nipped by a ferret at times. I had a couple of pets.
I wish, that's one where I wish there was video, because I want to see how that guy
come out of there.
I want to see the guy walking, because that I would have paid good money for that.
We could probably look on, there's got to be a video out there. If you sub the video, a parrot in the guy's pants, send it to us here.
Got to be some CCTV, like closed caption or closed circuit. There has to be.
So next week on the show, Sarah Hewlett-Pacheco is going to return, because we have some more video from our investigation we did the month before last at her property. So we'll have that on the show and more crazy videos, and I'm sure we'll gather a bare necessity.
Absolutely. I've been storing up bare necessity videos.
Yeah, we get them from all the time.
Absolutely. So next week's going to be great. But the video from our time out at the haunted house, there's more of us talking with a female pirate ghost.
Yeah, you'll see all that next week. Thanks for being here today. I'm Todd Duplantis.
I'm Doug O'Brien. Have a great week.
It has always started with the call to serve, fighting and winning for our nation. But Marines are never really finished. They serve in communities across our country. This is Semper Fidelis, always faithful, always Marine.
St. Jude is your security blanket. The support is always there. And the staff becomes family.
Coming here and receiving treatment that was life-saving for our child, of no cost to us, was a huge weight lifted. That was God placing people in the right place at the right time to make sure Ashton is okay, to be here and live the rest of her life.